yeah, no.
Did you know?
Knowbots Radio.
Knowbots
Knowbots.
Is yeah, no.
Kelvin and Karen.
Knowbots Radio.
Knowbots Radio.
Episode 3, Training Generative AI with Creative Content.
I'm your host, Kelvin Girdy, and I'm with Karen Kilroy. It sounds like humans need to give AI ideas. Where does AI get the training data?
A lot of them are taking things out of the public domain. Social media has given a lot of training data to AI. And some companies are pursuing licensing systems so creators can police the paying of royalties. But anyone who has ever produced a song or a piece of artwork, and unless you're an established brand, you understand that it is very difficult to get paid for anything that's been on the internet. And oftentimes, even though you have signed up for all the right programs and that you should be getting paid for listens and views and things like that, it doesn't necessarily mean it will always happen. And as a result, creators have been being ripped off since the beginning of the internet, and probably even before the internet. It's well known in the music industry that musical artists can sign deals that make them feel wealthy for the moment while they're promoting their music, but then later they don't have anything and they don't have any rights, and they have obligated themselves to additional albums that they don't feel passion for. And this happened to David Bowie, who was very, very famous at the time it happened. He had just finished his most famous things that we all know him for, Ziggy Stardust, and he had many fans. And he had no money. He was in New York City with no money, and he and his manager, Bill Zisblatt, figured out something called Bowie bonds. And what they did with Bowie bonds was they sold futures in Bowie's music, and it was an actual investment vehicle that people could buy. And what it did was it put money in David Bowie's pocket right away so he could function, yet made it so people that had invested, they made some money, and then I'm sure they cashed out at some point in the future, and they made money on their investment as they were promised. So it all really worked out for David Bowie. Now, why can't we take a similar concept and apply this to creative content for artists? But instead of just worrying about the work that's been published, let's think about all the cutting room floor work, because all of your cutting room floor work is valuable to an artificial intelligence. So in the case of a visual artist, you may have hundreds of paintings that have never made it anywhere, and little things where you've tested color, little pieces, scraps of paper, pieces of canvas. I know, even though I'm not a full-time artist, I could find hundreds of samples of my work. Take those samples that AI can get nowhere else because they're not floating around on the internet. They're in cabinets and drawers and on hard drives. And then market those to companies that train generative AI models. Do it in advance. Do it like David Bowie did the Bowie bonds, so you know that you've got enough money to live off of for your life out of these creative works, even though these companies may be using your creative works to create derivative works far into the future.
If you're not listening to Knowbots Radio, then you're not listening.
Knowbots Radio was brought to you by Kilroy Blockchain, where you can learn about blockchain-tethered AI, the way to create trackable, traceable artificial intelligence. Visit https://blockchaintetheredai.com for details.
Congratulations to Kilroy Blockchain.
In the next episode of Knowbots Radio, you will explore the top jobs in AI, in this revealing interview with GPT-4 generative AI model.
If you'd like to financially support our DIY reporting at Knowbots Radio, you can send a Venmo to Karen-Kilroy-1.
Knowbots Radio.
Knowbots
Knowbots.
Is yeah, no.
Kelvin and Karen.
Knowbots Radio.
Knowbots Radio.